Hi, I'm Robin, one of the teachers here at Remainders Creative Reuse, and today's project will be about warrior dolls, kind of inspired by the Pueblo people's Kachina dolls, and I'll explain that in a moment. Our workshops here at Remainders spotlight an invaluable yet underrepresented contribution of women and BIPOC artists from the last 2 centuries. We highlight the artists' work with examples, talk about their lives, and give a hands-on studio class directly inspired by their work. We want to share how both female and BIPOC artists have strong voices that continue to be an integral part of the institution of art, but have maybe been represented very little. So I'm going to begin, and this is the example of a warrior doll, and I'm going to read a little bit about the Kachina dolls that inspired. A Kachina is a spirit being in the religious beliefs of the Pueblo peoples. These Native American cultures are located in the southwestern part of the United States. In the Pueblo cultures, Kachina rites are practiced by the Hopi, Zuni, Hopi Tewa, and certain Carisan tribes, as well as in most Pueblo tribes in New Mexico. The Kachina concept has 3 different aspects: the supernatural being, the Kachina dancers, and handmade Kachina dolls. The small dolls are carved in the likeness of the Kachina and are given only to those who are or will be responsible for the respectful care and well-being of the doll, such as a mother, wife, or sister. Kachinas are spirits or personifications of things in the real world. These spirits are believed to visit the Hopi villages during the first half of the year. The local pantheon of Kachinas varies from Pueblo community to community. A Kachina can represent anything in the natural world or cosmos, from a revered ancestor to an element, a location, a quality, a natural phenomenon, or a concept. There may be Kachinas for the sun, stars, thunderstorms, wind, corn, insects, as well as many other concepts. Kachinas are understood as having human-like relationships, such as having uncles, sisters, and grandmothers, as well as marrying and having children. Although not worshipped, each is viewed as a powerful being who, if given veneration and respect, can use their particular power for human good, bringing rainfall, healing, fertility, or protection. A central theme of Kachina beliefs and practices is the presence of life in all objects that fill the universe. Everything has an essence or a life force, and humans must interact with these or fail to survive. From the origins, there are 2 different accounts of Hopi beliefs for the origins of Kachinas. According to one version, the Kachinas were good-natured spirit beings who came with the Hopis from the underworld. The Kachinas wandered with the Hopis over the world until they arrived at Casa Grande, where both the Hopis and the Kachinas settled. With their powerful ceremonies, the Kachinas were of much help and comfort, for example, bringing rain for the crops. However, all of the Kachinas were killed when the Hopis were attacked and the Kachinas' souls returned to the underworld. Since the sacred paraphernalia of the Kachinas were left behind, the Hopis began impersonating the Kachinas, wearing their masks and costumes and imitating their ceremonies in order to bring rain, good crops, and life's happiness. I've chosen Kachinas as the inspiration for this warrior doll project, not because they represent warriors, but because they represent the kind of inner strength and connection that one must have to go into the sort of spiritual battle one must participate in to excel in daily life, and the connection to the world and cosmos which is needed to experience inspiration as creatives. So this is just an example of a warrior doll that I made, just using a lot of different materials, and we'll go through all the steps. But first I'm going to show you what you will need, and then what also Remainders will supply to you. So you'll need a glue gun, possibly some pins, it's good to have them, and a nice sharp pair of scissors. Then at Remainders, when you come to pick up your materials, you can choose from all kinds of embellishments. I just have a few here. We have pom-poms, beads. You'll need a little bit of embroidery thread, pipe cleaners to give body to the doll. There are sequins, feathers, yarn. Make sure you pick up quite a bit of yarn because it takes a lot to wrap this doll, and any colors, and also yarn that is pretty thick. And then a lot of trim. I have some trim here that I'm going to use on the example. Also, you will need fabric. The inside of this doll is fabric wrapped with yarn or twine or whatever you choose to wrap it with. So I want to explain a little bit about the fabrics. The first thing you're going to do, and this is part of it, is you're going to write an intention on a regular size piece of paper, an 8.5 by a 11 piece of paper. So you just write whatever your life intention, something important to you, something you feel good about, and then crumple this piece of paper. So I've crumpled this into a ball, and this is kind of hard. If you want it to be softer, because this is what you're going to use to make this head area. If you want it to be softer, you can cover it with a piece of fiber fill, which you can get from us at Remainders. Okay, so basically this is the head. Now there's different fabrics. You can choose any fabric you like, but I'm going to kind of show you what size to choose. This square size is the best size, because the head is going to go, and there's two sides. I'm going to make the shiny side out. The head is going to go like this, and you can smooth it out and work on it however you want. You can make it bigger, and then take a small piece of embroidery thread and just wrap it around to create the head and tie a knot. So this is your starting point. Tie a knot on there. So you have this, and it's kind of like the little ghost that you make at Halloween. So I want to show you the other fabrics. So this piece of fabric, it's more long. It's not quite as wide. If you don't want big arms, if you put the head in here like that, there's not a lot to make the arm, okay? So you want to choose something more square. Also this, this is too narrow. These are too small. And this fabric, it's kind of like canvas. It's a little heavy. So if you pick a heavier fabric, it's going to wrap thicker. You're going to get thicker appendages. So just be aware of the kind of fabric and the size of the fabric when you choose it. So the next step, I'm working upside down, so you want to lay this out. Actually, I'm going to make that the bag. Oops. You lay this out and put meet these corners here and here, and then I'm going to turn this so I can cut it. You cut on a diagonal like this. And you can always cut more. Don't cut too much, but enough so that this creates an arm, and this is going to create a leg. So there'll also be an arm on this side. Okay, so there's arms. If you want your doll to have more of a skirt, you don't necessarily have to make legs. You could bring this down. You could stuff this. If you wanted it to have a big body, you could stuff this and bring this down, and you could wrap this whole area, and it would be a larger body. It's up to you, or a big tummy and legs like that. You can really determine the shape that you want. If you want legs, then you would cut up the middle like that, because then that will just separate that. Okay? So the next step is to take a pipe cleaner, and I like to put the length of the pipe cleaner in all the way up to the head. So that means it's going to go all the way to where the neck is. And then this is a little bit long for arms. You can make the arms that long if you like, but also to just make this stronger, fold the pipe cleaner in and then in again, and that makes this really sturdy and bendable, however you want it. Then there's a lot of excess fabric here. This becomes kind of thick. So in this situation, I would just cut this off. And then this just wraps around. Oops, let me go this way. And it's all very free flowing. Like this is a little bit big, so I'm going to cut this a little more. You just have to kind of cut as you go, but don't cut so much that it falls apart. So I wrap this around, and then this is where I use a pin. And just keep this together. So I'm going to start with this arm. This is the yarn I've chosen. And I'm just going to tie the yarn at the neck. You know, it just doesn't have to be a really intense knot. And then this tail is just going to get wrapped into the arm. And now it's just a lot of wrapping. It's going to take a while. I'm doing it upside down, so it doesn't have to be really thick the first time. What I try to do is just get it wrapped and pull the pin out. And then you can decide if you want this fabric to show. I kind of like when it shows. It's a little hard to do the end with the yarn completely. Like on this sample, I did it so that the pipe cleaner was sticking out, because if the yarn goes too close to the end, it can slip off. And then it's just a lot of tight wrapping and covering the whole thing. If you want some of the fabric to show, you can. You can do really whatever you want. But you'll see, and I'll try to go fast, you'll see that if you miss a spot, you can go back and cover it. It's not fussy. You just keep wrapping because you're basically making a body. So that gets wrapped. I'm going to go as far as I can up the arm. It's a little sloppy because I'm hurrying. And, you know, take your time. Do it however you like. So when you get up to this neck area, what keeps it stable, and I'm going to pretend I'm all the way there, like the pipe cleaners to here, you can take this yarn and go around the neck a couple of times, and then that stabilizes the arm. So see how the arm, let me go back. The arm is quite loose, and that's fine. You can do it like that. But if you want the arm to kind of be tight and be stable, you can go around the neck. You can come back, go around the arm again. You know, go around the neck again, however you want to do it. And then from there, you can go down the body. Here's the legs. You're going to go a little ways down the body. I'm not going to go far because it's going to take too long. But you want to wrap. So if you put something here in the body to make it big, you want to do that first and then wrap around the body. Until you get to where you want the body to end. And then that's when you start on the legs. So this on here, the body would be about down to there. And then I would go down one leg, and you can put a pipe cleaner in here. And you can put a pipe cleaner in, you could put 2 pipe cleaners in on the body, and then have those continue down the legs, and then you would have a little bit of strength in the body. And then it's just wrapping and wrapping, getting to the end, turning back, and then you have your doll, basically. So the next step is just decorating with hot glue. Take hot glue and decide. And the tradition of the Hopi, they're carved wooden dolls with a lot of painting, and the carving is very intricate. So this is a little bit different. We're not doing carving, we're doing decorating. A Navajo Kachina, it's not a true Kachina, but it's a type of Kachina. They use only decoration. They use fur, feathers, beads. So this is a little bit of a mashup of the 2 different kinds of Kachinas. So I think, I want to make a little crown for this one. I like the green. It kind of reminds me of agricultural things. So for this, it's just all hot glue is what I'm using. Whoops. And don't forget, hot glue's hot. So instead of going all the way around and trying to get this on, I just do a little at a time. Because with hot glue, if you just do a little area at a time, you're less likely to burn yourself. I do a little crown. And this part is really just open, whatever you think, whatever you want to add. The reason I like this project and like to do this project is because it just becomes very meditative. And it kind of reminds me of the principles of the Kachina and the spiritual things about the Kachina. So you can see it starting to take shape. Here's the arm. You can decorate the arm with things. You can, put a pom-pom here. Really anything goes. So you're going to start, it looks a little bit angelic when it's unwrapped, but then once it's wrapped, and this was just a blank doll with this kind of beige head, teal legs. I put extra pipe cleaners so it would have little hands and feet. And the rest is just decoration. Hair, these berries. This is trim. This is just a trim, a beaded trim that's just wrapped around several times to make this skirt. And that's really all there is to it. You can choose any colors you want. We'll have lots and lots of trims for you to choose from. When you come in to get your materials, you can ask me questions. And so I'm going to finish mine, and now you can get started on yours. So thank you so much for joining me and this class and others like it in this series at Remainders are made possible by a generous grant from the City of Pasadena Arts and Culture Commission. We really appreciate their generosity and couldn't do this without them. So thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.